Does everybody like bread?
Yeah!
Of course we do. And for over 30,000 years, it's been a favourite staple. But today's processed white loaf bears little resemblance to the rustic, nutritious bread of our ancestors. However, with the resurgence of some very special bakers, that's all changing.
Hand shaping is a major part of artisan bread making. This is where we control the outcome through, the skills and the feeling, touching the dough. And be true to what we do. Never change away from the artisan principle of having that hands-on experience through the whole process.
Michael Clausen trained as a chef in Denmark, and even though he learned all facets of cooking, his real passion was for bread making. Today, his mission is to spread his love of hand-baked bread in both his bakery and his cooking classes. He calls it breaducation, but it's a whole load of fun.
What's in a loaf of bread?
Water.
Water.
Seeds.
Anything else?
Yes. Salt.
Love.
And love. Fantastic. So we got flour, water, salt, and yeast. And love. Let's get started, huh?
With an increasing interest in the provenance of food, Michael knows he can change the way people eat, one sourdough loaf at a time.
One thing that is amazing is that we're working with flour, water, and salt. And out of that, we can manipulate the fermentation, the time, the temperature, and we can do all these things. And out of that, you create all these different kind of recipes.
After the break, Michael reveals an 18-year-old secret that transforms his bread making. Plus, now we just want to fold that over an easy, no-knead bread with chorizo and olive oil. We're in the middle of a bread revolution, and at the forefront of that revival are skilled craftsmen using traditional methods. Michael Clausen and his teams in Sydney and Melbourne are passing on their experience in their baking classes, and today we're making clattered bread. This is so much fun.
I like this one. So I get that up.
Doesn't it feel good?
Fantastic.
Do you like the feel?
Have a look here.
It's got the most fantastic softness and elasticity, and it bounces back. It's a beautiful dough. So baking bread really is child's play. They mix, ferment, mould the dough, rest, and then bake. But the crux of it all is the starter, also known as the mother dough, and that's the real secret.
We began 18 years ago by crushing up some organic grapes and some flour, organic flour, and put some water on, left it, on the kitchen table, and then next day it starts to bubble. We strained it all out and kept feeding it and built up. After 6 months, we felt like we had created a starter that could make a really beautiful bread. And that is the foundation of this.
And so your starter is different from anyone else's. It's got its own personality.
Oh, absolutely, because it's the yeast and the bacteria that is in our environment, and we have created our unique sourdough starter here.
And the whole thing about sourdough bread is that it is a living, breathing, continuous, multi-generational thing.
Absolutely. I mean, in historical terms, you have starters that's more than 100 years old. It's been passed on through generation. We actually are working very hard on getting people involved in sourdough baking at home, and we teach that in the school, and then we get them to actually share their starter with families and friends so they can kind of develop that tradition. I think bread has many impact on people's emotion and how we eat bread. And I always had this love for bread. I remember traveling around Paris as a very poor apprentice, and all you can afford is baguettes. And I remember sitting in a cafe and getting a slice of Paulin's French beautiful sourdough bread, and I think it was just like something groundbreaking for me because it just made me really appreciate an historic value behind it of many generations making this bread. Australia is changing. They're eating grains now. They're wholemeal grains, seeds. it's all changing now.
Just like we used to centuries ago.
Exactly, yeah. The future of artisan bread is just going to keep going.